So I hope you guys are doing well. Okay, so what we will be doing today? So we will not be learning any particular topic. So we will be reviewing or understanding the guardrail score. Okay, so this is one of the very important things in Pega applications, and Pega is also focusing a lot on this compliance score or guardrail score. So for a junior developer, okay, so guardrail score or compliance score as a score which tells the quality of our application. So if I just go and read the definition, so you can see here you can assess the overall quality of an applications by referring to its compliance score. Okay, so this is basically tells that like how you have wrote your code, okay, like how much compliant you are, okay, when you're writing your code. And from where we can see this, so again this is these things is for the junior developer. Okay, we can go to application quality and then we can navigate to guardrail and then compliance score. So here we can see the compliance score of our applications. We can, if we have multiple applications, we can select our multiple applications, and in these steps we can review our more details, compliance details, warning summary and warning details. And then here we can see that how much compliant, like let's say we have written 100 rules, then 78 rule is compliant, okay, with the Pega, okay, whatever the Pega rule is saying. So Pega have internal rules, okay, to calculate this guardrail score, so we'll not be going into that one. Okay, so if you go here, Pega have some this is the rule, okay, how they calculate, but like it has like a kind of a severity 1, severity 2 warning. Okay, so that kind of a things is there. Okay, so that is on a high level the like kind of a definition of guardrail score or the compliance score. So what we will be talking today is that how we can improve our guardrail score. Okay, because I have seen, like, even though if we are like developing in a very recent version, okay, I've seen that applications compliance score is not that great. Okay, so today I'll be talking about the 10 points, okay, that how we can keep our guardrail score more than 90, 95 plus. Okay, and if you follow those 10 points whatever I'm talking, okay, then it will help you to make sure that your compliance score is like definitely 90 plus, 90 to 95 plus. Okay, so let's go and review each of those 10 points. So the first point is create one reusable parameterized utility for obj save, sorry, obj methods. Okay, in obj methods I'm talking about specifically delete, save or commit right now. Okay, so what happens, so okay, method in base class and call from data transform or utility. Okay, so mostly again, like if I'm talking here utility, but I try to avoid utility or activity, and so call from data transform. So what happens, like I have seen in many applications, okay, even though like experienced person is doing this mistake. Okay, so the moment they'll need anything to save to database, obj save or to delete, they'll go ahead and write activity. Okay, so let's say, like, and if you keep writing activity, okay, for like your specific functionality, then what will happen, you'll end up by creating so many activity. Okay, but I do understand that you need these methods, okay, obj save, obj delete. Okay, so in that kind of a situation, so what we can do is we can create one reusable activity in base class, okay, without giving a step page. Okay, so I've like written here a sample one, so let's review this one. So if you see here, I have written all methods, so you can write all methods like obj save with right now, obj save with right now, or if you want another one with errors, that also you can do. Then obj delete, then obj delete with immediate commit, and that you can parameterize this each step. Okay, and have in preconditions, so I have not written completely parameterized. So once and then a step page is applying. So what you can do is on your primary page, okay, and create this in base class, so then you'll be able to use this utility from your like data class as well as from the work class. Okay, and entire like, so that the warning will only come to this rule, and you'll be able to save the warning for multiple rules. Okay, so after that, wherever you need or you feel that okay, I need to save data, you can avoid activity, you can just write your data transform and call this activity from your data transform with your defined parameter. Okay, So that is how we can save that. Okay, so this is one of the important point. And yes, we will be getting warning for this rule. Yes, we cannot avoid, but at least we can justify why we need this activity. So here I have written reusable rules. Okay, but you can explain more in details. Also we can have commit, and then we can do exceptional handling as well. So in each steps we can do exceptional handling, and then we can have that log as well. So that is one of the very important point which we discuss. Let's talk about the second one. So second one is again use database for obj-open and obj-browse in all cases. Okay, so this is also important. Okay, I have seen, like, as I'm telling, so these are for the experienced people, okay, or experienced developer. What happens that, like, the moment they need it, like obj-open or obj-browse, okay, they have the habit of creating utility or activity. So they'll go and simply write that activity. Okay, but we can avoid it. We can use databases. I know, like, you have to create databases, multiple databases, but that's fine, we can do that. Okay, creating databases is not a problem. Okay, instead of creating activity, so always try to use, like, if you're using like for obj-open, you can use lookup, and for browse you can use database with that source report definition. Okay, so that's how we can avoid, like, activity for browsing or doing obj-open. Okay, even though you just need for some scenario where you just want to open and then, like, copy to temp page, or like want to do anything, just create a data page, use data transform, and from the data page copy the entire things to a temp page. Okay, so you don't need activity, okay, to do all those kind of things. Okay, so just see how we can use databases. In a combination of database and data transform, you can avoid activity in most of the scenario. Okay, I'll discuss about the third point. So third point is very important. Okay, create functions or one data transform. Okay, in base class, I can write here also in base class for all for page change class. Okay, okay, for page change class. So this is one of the important things. Okay, many of the times what we do, we dynamically set the class, okay, of any page. Okay, and if we do in activity, like, so here we have to avoid the activity. So then where we will do, we will try to do in data transform. But if we try to update the px obj class, we'll get the severe warning. Okay, so I'll show you that warning quickly. I'll try to open data transform quickly. So I'll go to records, data transform. I have that pure default, so I'll just try to here only z px obj class, px obj class, and if I just give I will just copy this class. Somehow it's complaining, so let me copy the class. See, we are getting a severe warning. Okay, so let's say in your application, okay, you need this kind of a feature in 10 places. Okay, so instead of doing this in each data transform, what we can do, we can create one data transform, reusable data transform called page change class. Okay, and then we can use it in all places. So in that we will only face the warning in one places, and that rule we can justify. Or you can create your function also and then call that functions in your data transform. So this is one of the very important point. Okay, I've seen, like, many people are doing that, they're doing in multiple places, and that is reducing our compliance score like anything. Okay, let's talk about the next things. Okay, that avoid use of activity, create multiple rules like data transform, data page to achieve most of the functionality, and if really required, create utility and justify. So again, this is like a again, so this like whenever we think about a complex solutions, that okay, I need to do some db operations, I need to do looping, and then I need to save the data. Okay, so those kind of a scenario, whenever, like, we think this kind of a things, we always go for activity. But no, if we break out that part, we can use, like, we can achieve with data transform and data pages. Okay, so I'll just give a scenario. Let's say you want to do obj-open. Okay, and then you want to do some operations on that one, or you want to manipulate some data, and then eventually you want to save that. Okay, so the moment you'll think, okay, obj open is there, obj save is there, let's go and write for activity. No, let's go for activity. But no, you can achieve it with the data transform. What you can do is you can write a data page to do a obj open or do obj browse, and then next step you can copy that, okay, on a temp page. You can copy the entire data from like data page to a temp page, and then you can do manipulations, and then on that page, okay, you can call the activity, the usable activity, which we have, like which we talked in a step 1, to save the data. So in that way we can achieve most of the functionality. Yes, you need to create 3 rules. So here you need to use 3 rules. You need to use like a data transform, you need to use data page, and then again you need to use one usable activity to save the data. Okay, but that's fine. This will help us in reducing our compliance score. Okay, if we write activity, yes, we can, if with the activity we can easily do it, because activity is like giving us to do it all the things in one rule. But like again, that will impact our guardrails score. Okay, the next point is avoid custom control. Try to find out OTB control, else negotiate with the business. So this is very important points. Okay, what happens whenever a business is asking that I need some data in a different format? Okay, we think, okay, let's go ahead and write a custom control. Okay, even the experienced person or experienced developer is also doing, because we have, like, let's say if you have experience, you have done that in your past. Okay, so whenever his business is asking this kind of a things, we do not object, we go, we say, okay, we can do that, and go ahead and write that custom control. Okay, but before writing, I'll request that go and try to find out in out of the box control. Okay, we'll definitely find out, because now Pega has given many out of the box control which can be used. Okay, if not, then try to negotiate with the business and see how we can meet the business requirement with out of the box only. Okay, so this is one of the very important point. The next one is always create Pega unit test cases for all applicable rules. Okay, so this is again very important, because what happens now, we are doing most of the development. So we are trying to do most of the development from the app studio. Okay, so initially, okay, any like either app studio developer or any senior developer, when he's like trying to configure that case and the data model, okay, Pega will automatically create tons of rules. Like it will create a data pages, report definition, and many more rules. Okay, but and then like they'll move on, they'll start their development. Okay, and no one will go ahead and check those rules and create the unit test cases, and those rules impact the guardrails score. Okay, so always try to create unit test cases. I know it's take little time. Okay, if you learn once, okay, then it's like easy for all rules. Okay, it won't take max more than 5 to 10 minutes to create a unit test case rule for any rules. Okay, so always try to do that. Okay, if you do not do from the beginning, if you do not make a habit, okay, then you'll have a tons of rule, you'll write tons of rules, and then eventually you'll not create the test cases for these rules. Okay, so always try to do that. Okay, I'll simply give an example. So if you see in my application, if I review here, if I see here that like rules with the warning and unjustified rules, so it's showing total 19. So I have not done much things. Okay, so if you see, like I'm doing this POC and trying to make you guys learn, so I have just created few flows and other things, but these rules were created by Pega automatically from that app studio. Because see, most of them are either data report definition or the data pages, and few other things is also there. Okay, so all are related to that warning for that warning for the test cases. Okay, so please make a habit. Okay, if I go to warning details and see, like most of the rules are for that unit test cases. So I would request that like make a habit to create unit test cases rule for each and every rule. Okay, because if you do from the day one, it will be very easy. Okay, and your compliance score will definitely be 90 plus. The next one is seventh one is very important. Again, this is an extension of point 6. Okay, so what happens, like the moment we create like data model and other things from the app studio, it creates a data table editor report. So this is like a by default RD, okay, which gets displayed in our data types to show the data records. What happens when Pega creates, it's add all out of the box property. Okay, so I'll show you this one. So if you see here, like it has a 3 warning. Okay, and usually no one will go and do that, because people will say, okay, that this is like the out of the box rule and it has been created by Pega. But no, if you want your good guardrail scores, you need to take care of this rule. So how we can handle it? So if you see, the first things is saying that, like, for this px date and some other things, okay, for this property. So simply, if you review this property, so Pega have exposed this property in our database table, but we don't need to display on our like data records. And even if you see, it is hidden. So what we can simply go and do, we can remove this property or we can remove the column format. Okay, so like most of the cases you can simply go ahead and remove it. Okay, because I don't think we need it to display in our data table data records. Okay, so we can simply go and remove this out of the box property. Okay, so now we are left out with these points only. So okay, so still it's showing 3. So here also you can see that pz read only text. Okay, so we can remove this as well. It's a hidden, so that is fine, no issues. So in that way we can remove, reduce. Okay, let's see. And then here also we have a date columns, we can remove this one as well. And here also we can remove this one as well. So see, now one is left. Okay, so the one is just complaining about the data unit test cases. So again, I'm saying, so like make a habit to create a test cases. Now if I go to data types, it doesn't like make much difference. Okay, if you need like format for few of the property, you can keep it but justify it. Okay, if you really need it, but most of the time we don't need it. Pega is creating, and I have seen that in many of the applications, most of the developer will not touch this rule. They'll say that it is created by Pega. Okay, but then it's created by Pega out of the box, but we have to carry the guardrails score. Like it will impact our guardrail score. So always like make a habit to correct this rule. Okay, so if I now navigate it to leave details, data type, let's see that. So I have a 3 property. If you remember from day 1, I'm teaching start date, end date, and then leave reason. So let's go and see the records. Still we'll be able to add those values. Okay, so it won't make much difference. Okay, so it's taking little time. Okay, so let me add one. Okay, so start date we can add, let's say so today's date is 10th May. Okay, so I'll say 05 10 20 total. Okay, so this format is not accepting. Okay, so see, it came. I know, like if you have the date, let me put the date. So in this kind of scenario, so let's say if you really need that date, we can keep it for some of the property, but most of the time we don't need it. Okay, so if let's say if I'll put, what will be the difference? Maybe I'll get the calendar to select the date. So in some scenario we can keep it, but most of the scenario we can remove that. Let me refresh this view. Let me close and open again. See, I got that calendar. So yes, in this kind of a situations, if property is your date type or something else, okay, very little different kind of a, then we can keep the format. Okay, and then justify the rules. But most of the times I have seen that we don't need that control or that HTML format, but still Pega have added it, so that we can remove it. Okay, that will help us help in improving our compliance score. Okay, so this is one of the very important point. And also, like as I'm saying, that it will be created by Pega, no one will go and check that and create that unit test cases. And but unit test cases is very important, so we should like try to create the unit test cases. Okay, and if you are like Not if you're like if you're not okay to remove the control format, at least justify. Okay, so touch this rule. So basically what I meant is that don't like ignore these rules that it has been created by like out of the box when I'm generating the or configuring the source. Okay, so that is my point. Okay, let's talk about that 8th point. So always define minimum one parameter for page level data page. If not, justify a dummy one. Okay, so this is again very important. Okay, so whenever we write a like a page level data page, okay, if you do not give any parameter, then it will then it will throw like kind of a severe warning. Okay, so let's say that if you're trying to fetch the data from or like some source, let's say from if you're like writing like page level data page, okay, for pulling like fetching some data like as a lookup, then definitely you will have a parameter. But let's say you are writing a page level data and data page, okay, with the source data transform. So in that scenario, maybe you don't need any parameter. Okay, but then if you do not define, then it will give you a severe warning. So I'll quickly show you. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll create a data page. Okay, so let's say data page. I'll give, let's say I'm set type. Let's say we set some type. Okay, set some type. Okay, and then I'll create this in leave details class. So here I'll do, so instead of like fetching from the like the source can be data transform. Okay, so if I'm writing a data transform here, then it's not necessary that we will have a parameter. Okay, let me create here. See, so what happened here, what I'm trying to do here, I'll be setting few results. Okay, few attributes. Okay, on this page, maybe py label and some other attributes. Okay, but I don't need any parameter. Okay, so see, if I'm not defining any parameters, Pega is giving a severe like warning. Okay, so these also sometimes people will ignore it. Okay, so no, we just define some parameter. Okay, even you can define a dummy parameter so that you'll avoid this warning. Okay, otherwise it will throw a severe warning and it will impact a lot on our compliance score. So this is one of the important point. Let's go to the next one. Okay, and this one again, make sure all classes is mapped with the proper table, not with the underscore other or any. So I've seen that if you're like sometime creating like data model from app studio, okay, Pega is mapping sometimes to peer other also. Okay, and that's through a severe warning. Okay, so we should avoid that one as well. So we have to make sure that always we're mapping with the proper table. Okay, the next one is avoid use of Java, and if required, create a functions and call from data transform. So I know like these points, most of the points which I'm talking, most of the people are knowing, but the problem is that people doesn't follow every time. Okay, or they'll follow few, not all. So again, this is also very important point, and everyone is knowing that we should not write Java. Okay, but in some scenario we definitely need Java. Okay, in most of the applications, maybe we are like trying to let's say I'm trying to download a document. Okay, by passing the binary data. So maybe in that scenario I need a Java. Okay, or like I'll give you another example. So if you're writing like a queue processing, okay, so to find out the attribute of the queue processing, maybe we need a Java functions. Okay, to find out the attribute like a kind of what is that amp and other things. So definitely we need like Java, like each and every applications will need it. So what happens most of the time, I've seen that if the Java is very small, okay, only for 2-3 line, people will not create a function. They'll create a utility and write the Java in it. Okay, but if you do that, then again it will hit our compliance score like anything. Okay, so here we can avoid two things by creating Java, by creating functions for that Java. We can avoid like writing Java in activity, and also we can avoid activity. And once you create a functions, you can use that in data transform as well. Okay, so that in that way also we can avoid and improve our guardrails score. from my side. I know there are like many more which will help. Like I have not written here like do not write inline css, try to like follow that template driven approach. So there are many more like other things are like do not try to write more than like 15 shapes in a flow. So there are like many more, but like on a high level what I have faced and how we can improve. Okay, so this is what I have written 10 points. Okay, uh, so you can try for this. Okay, and this will definitely help you. Okay, so yeah, this is it. And let me know if you want more explanation on any of these points. Okay, comment it, and in comment we can discuss, or also you can email me. So thank you very much. Have a good day.